This is not typically what we do. This is not when we do this.
You are correct. We have not done a lunchtime segment in months.
It's been a while, at least. The only good thing about the lunchtime segment is I don't have to set up lights. There is that. But and we get you in the car. But people are used to seeing you in the car. That's a familiar look for you.
What I go for.
This is USfanTV. We are coming to you on our normal Thursday slot, but not the actual time that we do these. It's a little early because I'm sick, as you could probably tell by my voice, and I'll probably be asleep by the time we normally do the show. And you have stuff tonight. So, and we weren't going to go
I have
a whole
a
week
class
again
tonight that I'm attending, so
we
I was
weren't
unable to.
Very good for you, furthering your education or whatever.
Like
we weren't going to go a whole week without doing another show. We didn't do Tuesday because of Halloween. We didn't do last Thursday because there wasn't anything going on. Normally, as I always say, we do these shows on Tuesday and Thursday nights. We're doing it on a Thursday afternoon because this is America and we do what we want. So there you go.
Damn it. Feel the freedom.
Yeah, the dog is right next to me. My new dog, in case you hear any kind of strange noises. There's a dog. Hey, I'm talking about you. Yeah, you got to be good when I do the show. All right, so we should probably start with the MLS playoffs. Specifically, our guy Jozy Altidore getting a lot of abuse in his old home, New Jersey, with the Red Bulls. And fans were, maybe rightfully getting on him, maybe wrongfully getting on him. I think the point where you start making fun of his religion, Jozy was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I think the point when you question his Americanness is a point where I better let the dog out. I'm gonna let the dog out when you start talking here in a second. That's the point where I think I draw the line.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, there's no real reason for that to happen. Some of the things they said, granted, like it's the playoffs. There are people in this country, kind of unlike in so much of the world. There are a lot of people in the U.S. who aren't a lot of people in the U.S. Excuse me, who kind of do the club over country thing. But it is the playoffs. They were playoff teams. Like a lot of people said, anywhere else in the world, players take way worse than this. Was it necessary? No. I don't agree with it when, in general, like I said, we are country over club, and these guys probably supported him until a month ago,
Right.
So I would say that in that regard, it went too far. But at the same time, I don't know, kind of like I like that. I like a bit of animosity in my cheers from the opposing fans. I like a little bit of animosity to the players as well. I like some, I don't know, some back and forth, some anger there, some genuine feeling. I like when teams don't like each other.
Yeah,
and
I think
if the fans have to do that, I'm cool with that.
I think it's fine to show your displeasure because they failed to make the World Cup. I think that's fine. That's fair. I don't know that I would, but I know that I wouldn't. I've thought about this, and I don't know what I would do in that situation. These are guys that I like generally.
Yeah, I mean, there's in this case, yeah, it is guys. We like, who they're talking about. So there's a little bit of, I don't know, does it mean as much? Would it mean as much to hammer them, or would we have some fun with it? I would probably harass them, but I wouldn't get hardcore on issues about them as people or something.
Yeah, you're not going to go after a guy's religion. That's just ridiculous. And I wouldn't question their Americanness. At the same time, though, they did fail miserably.
Oh,
and they
screwed us.
Remember Jurgen talking about how if this is Europe and they go to Starbucks or whatever, somebody in line is going to start giving them shit. Again, I can't possibly see myself going up to another grown man because he failed at soccer and going, "You suck." It's not something I would do, but it's something that
you would only do it if he was a union worker.
It's something that I could see people doing. I get that's pressure that comes with the job. I get that. It's not for me. I'm not going to do that. But whatever. I get. Ben says I wouldn't do it to them, but they kind of deserve it. That's kind of where I am. Jozy doesn't deserve to have his religion made fun of, but he does deserve maybe some heat for failing to qualify. Although I think Jozy was probably one of the better players in our qualification. So, yeah, as far as like if you're trying to get your team, if you're the Red Bulls and you're trying to help your team, yeah, you can boo the shit out of them. I don't care about booing, but it create an atmosphere, But yeah, I'm not gonna attack a guy. It's just kind of overall. Do you like the MLS playoffs?
I don't like the setup of the playoffs. Like, I don't understand why they do. It's sort of like random night games,
Yeah.
You'll have games, 2 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday, and maybe it's not 3, but it's such an odd setup of games that there's no consistency for kind of to reward people, or maybe sort of fans, like outsiders who might come in and go like, okay, yeah, like I can watch Mondays and Wednesdays and get it, or Wednesdays and Saturdays, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. It seems to me that they're sort of stepping on their own toes there. Like there's no set schedule that you can get kind of used to, and they're not doing anything to maybe try to avoid other sports that are going on, like the World Series over the last week and a half, 2 weeks now.
As Eric Winalda said, it's kind of it's a tough deal. You got the World Series going on, you got the start of the NBA and the NHL, you've got college football on Saturdays, the NFL on Sundays, NBA and NHL. You're going up against everything, so I think they're trying to shoehorn it in. I mean, here in Chicago, we got 11,000 people to go to Toyota Park for the Fire's lone playoff appearance, the first appearance in what, 5 years here. It was cold, it was rainy, it was 40 degrees. It was on a Wednesday night. Like, my son had practice, and then we had a little birthday party for him because it was his birthday, so I couldn't go. Maybe if I had a little more time to figure out, when the game was, and if it wasn't announced on a Monday and then played on a Wednesday or whatever they did, although they do that with other sports and it seems to work. So it's just, that's a problem, I guess.
Some of it, I think, is you're drawing from a larger pool of fans to attend. I'm not going to get into the pool of soccer players or whatever, all that, like the ridiculous talk that people do. But I think you can talk about there's a larger pool of regular attendees for games for many of these things.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of I don't know, a bit of a greater opportunity to draw people, and then on top of it, I think there's greater awareness made by, say, the cities or whatever. Like how much was the Fire in the news that week of like, oh, there's a Fire game tonight, oh, it's the playoffs. If that was the Bulls or the Blackhawks or the White Sox or say any other teams that I might not know the name of in that town, there would be there would be something to it. There would be coverage all over the news. You wouldn't be able to avoid it.
Yeah, it's but you I think you expect soccer fans know. I think a lot of people knew that the game was going on, but it didn't. And we've seen that in other places too. It's just it's a tough thing to turn around that quickly. And I think also part of it is that I don't like the format. I don't think a lot of people like the format, and the format changes so often you don't get used to anything.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the fringe fans are like, well, is this a knockout game, or is this the first game of a home and home, or what are we, a 2-leg thing? What are we doing? Like, I think a lot of people, casual fans, just didn't realize that was their only chance maybe to see the team in the playoffs this year, which is part of the problem, because you have this knockout round now, which is kind of cool, I guess. And then you go to the 2-leg thing, which has created a lot of 0-0 draws that only Jose Mourinho would be excited about. And then we go to an international break again, which is just, I'm so sick of MLS. Obviously, they have to stop for the international break, but the playoffs shouldn't even be split by an international break. Grant Wall and Brian Strauss at SI had what I thought was a fantastic idea. You wait until that break is over. you do a group stage, 2 group stages, like a 2 groups of 4. And then they called for you knock those out right away. The top seed hosts all the games, and then you go from there. You do the conference finals and the finals. I would say the MLS Cup, the final. I would say, I know they don't want to do away with playoff games because they make money and they sell tickets and whatnot. But I would say 2 group stages and maybe a final would be fine with me, and do it after the international break. But they're not going to go for that, obviously. But it just, as people point out all the time, there's too many teams that get in. Regular season superiority doesn't really get rewarded all that much. There are lots of problems that we see with this. So, it's a problem. Have we lost Chris again? He was like in the middle of somebody said it, but it looked like he was in the middle of a cornfield, which is odd. Maybe he'll come back. What else did oh, there he is.
There
He's
I am.
back.
I'm back. Yeah. Am I sideways now? Everything's
you are.
sideways to me.
Great. Sideways. Which I wouldn't do the show sideways if I were you. I'd probably do it like that. But yeah,
I got kicked out for some reason.
Not that it's not that I don't like the playoffs. Like I think there's a place for the playoffs. I like them. I like that we're in this regard different than the rest of the world. I don't think I want single table. With single table, at the very least, you have to have a balanced schedule, which MLS doesn't have. I like the playoffs. I just don't like the format or when they're played or how they're played. I don't.
Well, the nice part about playoffs, sorry to cut you off. I'm suddenly losing a signal, I think, here.
Wonderful.
The nice thing about playoffs is that it does eliminate that some of the kind of money weighted wins, you can't just be like Manchester United or I guess in this case Man City or something, or PSG, where you just go in and sort of buy your league because, hey, you bought all the good players and now you're going to win all the games, and 3 months before the end of the season you've already won it. That stuff, while it does make the regular season more important, it makes the end of the season boring, and that's the part where most people tune in. So in that regard, I don't mind having playoffs. There is value to it.
Yeah. Have we lost him again? Was that it? There's always a technical problem, isn't there, guys? I mean, if you watch the show a lot, you know this with Chris. There's always a technical problem. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't. What else did I have on my list? Bobby Wood, according to his manager at Hamburg, is in a negative spiral. So that's not good. But you know what? This is why we like I was talking about Bobby Wood as you left us. He's in a negative spiral, Chris, according to his manager at Hamburg. This is why we want our players to go to Europe.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a negative spiral, if Bobby Wood's in a negative spiral and he's playing for Sporting KC or something like that, he's probably still going to get to play. But now he knows he's got to perform or he's not going to play. And that added intensity and pressure is what makes or breaks players, and it cuts better players. And I have faith in Bobby that he will do it. I like him as a player, and I think he'll take this negativity and turn it to a positive. Maybe he won't though, but I think this is a good thing. It's like when people will email us or send us messages or whatever on Twitter saying, "Oh no, there's another person to compete for Christian Pulisic spot at Dortmund." This is what we want.
Yeah.
This is why they're in Europe.
Good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a bad thing at all. It will make him better. That's why he's there. And he knows that. And he knows he's up for the challenge. So good. I think Bobby Wood comes out of this just fine, but the other option, the other route is the Aaron Johansson Iceman route that, ends with us forgetting about him completely, or the mixed Discarud. So
see, I'm considering whether he should be called up to this game in a week and a half now.
Johansson or Wood?
Less than 2 weeks. Aaron Johansson.
Maybe. He was going to give us his thoughts on that, and then he went away. Oh, hello, Doug. All right. So Aaron Johansson called up for that game in a couple of weeks here against Portugal. Maybe. It's maybe not a bad thing to see that happen. We haven't heard from him in a while. We haven't seen him in a while. But you know what? It all depends on who's available. There was a report that we were going to see a lot of youngsters for this game, which is something that Chris and I have both called for. But it's a better thing, and it's the only thing that would make the game actually watchable and exciting and interesting to us. If we're going to see a bunch of guys that we've seen before, not for me. But Aaron Johansson or Julian Green or somebody like that who maybe has been off the radar for a while, maybe you do give them a chance. I don't know. Also on the list, Pulisic. We talked about him a second ago, but it doesn't look good for Borussia Dortmund. They had another draw yesterday, this time at the Westfalenstadion with Apoel. I thought Pulisic looked pretty good in the game, actually. He created a lot of chances. They just didn't finish those chances. So the dog is going to tear something up. Don't get a dog, guys. Your family will say, we need a dog. We want a dog. Dogs are great. Yeah, they're cool, but they're going to tear your stuff up. So now she's barking. You guys don't get a dog. So Pulisic in the Europa League now is maybe looking at best case scenario. And of course, Dortmund's going to draw Arsenal and knock out Arsenal because that's what happens to my team. That's okay. Whatever. As I would, if you can't win the Champions League, I would love to see Christian Pulisic win the Europa League. I think it'd be pretty cool. They're also struggling in the Bundesliga. A lot of people calling for Peter Bosch's head right now. Sandra, one of our BVB fans in Germany, says she wants Tuchel back. I think a lot of people do. I don't know that that's happening because of the way he left it there, but yeah, it's maybe time for a change. I see Chris's face now, so maybe he's going to pop in. Also on the list, quick note on Jonathan Gonzalez. The report was that he's told Mexico he's going to play for the U.S. Cool. Seems like a good player. Seems like the U.S. could really use him. I think maybe if he thought he had a shot at a World Cup next summer with Mexico, maybe he'd change his mind. Maybe that's what he's playing for right now, sort of like what Julian Green did with us in 2014. But I don't know that Mexico needs to make a play for him. Would we like to have him? Oh, sure. Yes, of course. USSF president, the interesting news, there's been a few guys that have thrown their hats in the ring. The interesting news on this is Carlos Cordeiro. He's the number 2 to Sunil, the deputy. He's Sunil's right-hand man. He's running. Does this mean Sunil is not? I predict that's what it means. I think Sunil will not run now. Now, Carlos said this is not about Sunil. He's got his own ideas. But I think they realize the optics of what's going on here. I think Sunil will not run. Carlos will run sort of in his spot. And what will happen is something I predicted a while ago. I'm talking about Carlos Cordeiro now, Chris. What will happen is something that we predicted a while ago. Sunil will be hired as a consultant to sort of oversee the 2026 bid, which I don't think is actually, if in the world of politics, there's a thing called revolving door where a person leaves a elected post and then gets a big paycheck as a consultant or lobbyist in many cases. I don't see this as a bad deal, though. I think you do want Sunil around to keep the continuity there, to make sure we nail down
he knows the
2026.
Because he knows the payoffs that have been made, so you don't
right.
have to make the payoffs a second time.
There you go. It's not necessarily a bad thing to lose him for that. Do I want him still as USSF president? No. I don't think his right-hand man would be much different. But as I'm looking at, the attorneys and other people who have thrown their hat in the ring and Winalda, I don't know who I want. I don't know who would. I mean, Winalda strikes me a bit like a Trump type candidate, where it might just be batshit crazy with him there, and that might not be a bad thing, but it might be a terrible thing. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on this. So
yeah, he is. He's definitely the candidate of opposition, or whatever you want to call him. Where I can't decide if he would kind of, if he was in position, if he would sort of take recommendations or take suggestions, or if he would just be like, look, this is what we're going to do. I mean, he's already laid out a bunch of ideas that aren't necessarily bad, but they are kind of revolutionary. And I don't know if you can shake up the system that much, essentially overnight. He's talking about pro-rel. He's talking about equal pay for men and women. And I can't remember some of the others that that he was bringing in. But he's talking about things that are vastly different than what USSF has done to this point. So, is he doing this all just to be revolutionary, just to promise things, just to get votes, or is he doing it to truly consider the best place or the best path forward for U.S. soccer? I don't know. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
It would help if I turn the mic on. Probably.
There you go. Thank you.
I don't know either. It's yeah, I like some of his ideas. I don't think he's going to be able to get most of that done, like you said. And I don't know. I do know this though. I want soccer people in charge.
Yeah.
We had a commenter. I didn't see who it was a second ago who said, you need some soccer people in charge. From a business standpoint, Dan Flynn has done a great job. He's made U.S. soccer a nonprofit a lot of money by they stockpile it.
Nonprofit.
Yeah, he's done a great job from a business standpoint. We need soccer people in charge. It's as far as what we're doing on the soccer side of things. There's this guy that we brought back from he's the American who was in Japan. I can't remember the guy's name, it escapes me, but he's apparently got revolutionary youth ideas. I mean, that's the type of guy we want back. But I think as the head of soccer things, you want a guy who understands the sport. So maybe played it, maybe managed it. Again, that's the role we should have had for Jurgen, not managing the team. He should have been doing that, but that's out the window now. So yeah, I could run, guys, like you saying, I could run. It'd be terrible though. Have you seen this show? You really want me to run for U.S. soccer president when we
just talk about things. We're not saying we know anything.
Yeah, I mean, although we do say when we don't know something, we straight up tell you on this show that we're idiots on a particular topic. We don't pretend. So, now look at this. I can't even clip my earpiece in because I keep having to get up to take the dog out because the dog who lays down for 90% of the day is apparently concerned about this particular setup and me talking to a screen. And so she wants to keep bothering me. So I let her outside. So
yes. And I've enjoyed the comments for everyone asking, I'm not in a cornfield. I'm actually behind a strip mall, up against a freeway. I realized as I was sitting here that, the road sound might be picking up on my mic. So I've been a little concerned about it, but I guess it hasn't been a problem. My phone, on the other hand, has too much stuff on it. So I can't stay in the air. I finally got my other phone to work. That is okay. So I should be on now.
Excellent. I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
Just at the end of the show. Yeah. For those of you guys,
to be here.
We're not doing a show tonight. We can't, and we didn't want to go a whole week without doing a show because that would be bad. So that's why we're here. We're doing the show now. Hopefully it gives you something. And for you guys who have no clue that we're on the air right now, to have 43 people show up for an unannounced show, I got to say is pretty awesome. But for those of you guys who have no idea we're on the air right now, I'll send a tweet out later and you can just pretend it'll be like real. You know what we have now? We have super chat. I didn't bring this up.
Super chat.
We have super chat. So if there's something that you really want to ask us and we're ignoring you, you can hit that little $ button and pay us money. Seriously, I don't think you should do this.
For $1, you can find out, is Chris in a cornfield?
If you want your comment to stay at the top in bold, you can pay us money. And I guarantee you this, if you do this, we will give you some type of response. I don't know what it'll be. But so this might be the opportunity for the non-soccer questions that you've always been wanting to know. That's one thing I like about, if you're an Arsenal fan and you listen to the Arsecast, fantastic podcast they do, a guy out of Dublin named Andrew does. They do a lot of rando life questions on there, which, we may need you guys to ask us because the soccer stuff may dry up. Who knows? So, all right. Where else? We've talked about Bobby Wood. We talked about Christian Pulisic. We talked about Jonathan Gonzalez. We talked about the USSF presidential race. We talked about the MLS playoffs. We talked about sad Jozy Altidore. Do you have anything else on your list?
I did want to mention we will discuss our predictions for the 23 guys who we hope play on the 14th. I think we'll do that Tuesday. So get your your picks together. I assume they're not called. Well, will they be called up this weekend? Then we need to put it out ahead of time. So we'll have to do that like tomorrow or something. But
We're good at planning. I
yeah.
have no idea.
I know. I've been trying to come up with who I want. I'm getting pretty close to 23. I've got about 20. I mean, realistically, the problem is you could go about 30 because once you get into like that say there's a good 18 maybe players that I think most of us would probably pick, even amongst like kind of youth players. Beyond that, there's a whole group of guys that's like, I don't know if like he'd be better than this guy or worse than that guy, or they all kind of, there's not enough of I don't know, enough experience to judge them on, or enough, times that they've played to see them on TV that you can get an idea. I absolutely want to see what this guy can do.
Nah, we'll see though.
I am pulling for Josh Sargent to get a call up though.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he deserves it at this point. I mean, I don't think like now's the time for him by any means. I don't want to make it sound like I think we've said enough times how we feel about him, but I just kind of want. He's been able to do it at all his challenges to this point. Give him another opportunity. What the hell? Who cares? As far as I'm concerned, everything we do from here on out is about qualifying for 2022, and give the kid 5 years to grow. Whatever.
I made friends with a pretty smart guy from Portugal who wrote us a message on Facebook. He doesn't seem to think that Portugal is going to bring their A team for this. He thinks it's going to be.
Why would they need to?
Yeah, we're not going to see Ronaldo or the rest of their A team. So it may be a time that why not Josh Sargent? Why not? What do we have to lose?
Yeah,
we've already lost.
I'm with you on both of your last two comments about what City's going to do to Arsenal, and that yes, I want Tim Weah in there as well. Those are the two clues or glimpses I'll give you into guys on my list when we set ours up.
I like it too. And as for City, not that I'm predicting that they won't destroy Arsenal, which they probably will, but I will say it is common for City to have a run of tremendous form and then suddenly tank it. I'm not saying it's going to start against Arsenal, but City looks outstanding right now. So, and you know who sadly also looks outstanding? Tottenham. I mean, wow.
My girlfriend yesterday goes, I hate him. And she couldn't figure out what she was saying about Harry Kane. She's like, I hate him. I just hate his face.
Well, it's always like that.
Yeah. Oh, he's been kicking ass for my fantasy team, though.
Good though.
If anybody is in St. Louis watching this, I will be in St. Louis this weekend and planning to go watch the Arsenal game at the Amsterdam. So if you want to come take a picture with me or something.
No one wants to do. Who are you kidding?
I know. You want to see how stupid I am in person?
Yeah.
Probably
somebody
should do it
here. If you watch the show from St. Louis, somebody go do it, please. All right. This is USfanTV. We have a website. It's USfanTV.com. We have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and they are all for your convenience, USfanTV. We hate Snapchat, and we're not doing it. You know where to find us on Craigslist, and we have YouTube, and you know that because you're watching this. We normally do these shows
Snapchat
Tuesday and Thursday night, but we're doing one Thursday afternoon because why not? But it's night in Europe, right? So there you go. You guys who watch in Europe, like Jack.
Yeah, so Jack, you can watch now. We're not screwing you and making you like get up at 2 or 3 in the morning just to see us.
Which I think he was going to do anyway because NFL Thursday night tonight. So.
Oh yeah.
Subscribe to our show if you haven't. We are sitting just under 1,100 subscribers. So, and you know how that makes us happy. It makes us feel good about ourselves when you subscribe. So do that. And tell your friends too. Spread the word. Spread the show everywhere. Put it on Facebook. Put it on Twitter. Put it on whatever you do. Say, hey, you know what? You probably don't want to talk about U.S. soccer anymore because our guys failed to qualify for the World Cup. But in case you do, I've got the guys for you. There it is. All right. What do you want to, what do we say at the end here? What final words? What are your final words, Chris? There we go. I couldn't remember how we do this even.
It's a witch searching thingy. South Park reference for everyone. I got nothing. Thanks everybody. You're done.
Thank you. We should be here on Tuesday. I don't see why we won't be, but we're not making promises anymore. Thank you. You're done.